Alright, so surprisingly enough, I am starting today's news topic in a way that I usually wouldn't start the news topics. Usually I pick the hottest headline to start the news off with, but today I'm starting with something that's really been bothering me. So CM Punk has announced this week that he's going to be on the UFC 225 fight card, which is going down in Chicago, and this fight card has a lot of great fights on it, but we have not announced his opponent just yet. This is not what I'm mad about. If you've been listening to my show, you know that I'm behind CM Punk 100% for getting the second shot. I mean, we waited 2 years to see what CM Punk was going to do. We brought Mickey Gall in, and we all know the end result. But, you know, it's the first time that CM Punk went in there, and a lot of fighters that have been in the cage time after time or have said, you know, maybe it's the octagon jitters that he had in there, which was a little surprising because it's CM Punk. He should be used to the big stage, but, I mean, this is mixed martial arts. This is not act. I wanted to see him get a second chance. If you hear from people like Bilal Muhammad, who's been on our show multiple times, he was just on the MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter backing up CM Punk, saying that he's mauling people inside the gym. He's beating people like Ben Askren, which is crazy to hear, but I'm not there. I'm not witnessing it. I'm taking Bilal's word from it, and it could be Bilal's way of trying to still hype and get behind his gym mate. You know, they train together, and CM Punk is training with a lot of top quality guys, but it does not mean he's going to be a top quality guy for training with. I mean, I need to see more of CM Punk, really, but who do you match him up against? This is where I get a little angry. This is where I've been hearing a lot of crazy suggestions for who CM Punk's opponent should be. There are people saying Mayweather. There are people saying Nick Newell. That's the one where I'm going to stop you at. This is the one where CM Punk would just get mauled by Nick Newell. And if you guys out there don't know who Nick Newell is, he's the one-armed fighter. You might know him. He has a couple. He has a hand, but there's no fingers. It's kind of just nubs. And he's been choking people out for years. He only has one loss on his entire MMA career. And you know that one loss is against? It's against Justin Gaethje. Now, after that loss, Nick, who's from West Haven, Connecticut, who's 10 minutes away from here, he kind of disappeared for a while. I mean, he was really close friends with people like Rumble Johnson, and he's very well known amongst the MMA community. He disappeared. He comes back to his return fight last Friday night for LFA, get to win just like he does in Nick Newell fashion, submission in the first round. And now my co-host Ted Shack, the infamous Ted Shack, is saying that he wants to see Nick Newell versus CM Punk. Pump the brakes. No. And this is why I say, because Nick Newell, I feel like if they match him up against CM Punk, it's kind of going to be very disrespectful. I think a lot of people are going to look at Nick Newell the wrong way instead of looking at him like a professional. I mean, you got to remember, this is somebody that's grown up probably being bullied. I mean, he's not like other kids. He didn't have an arm and hand, whatever you want to call it. And I'm sure that was very hard for him. His story is so amazing. I've had him on our show. Me and Ted, as a matter of fact. Me and Ted both talked to him on our show, Evil Intoxicated. You can find it right here on iTunes Podbean if you scroll way down. Way down. He came on to discuss a movie that he had in the making. And I was kind of questioning it at the time because I was like, now how is this movie really supposed to end? Because Nick retired after his loss. So it was awesome to hear him coming back. Now he gets the win. Now they're talking about UFC potential, which was always the question with Nick Newell. And knowing that he's only had one loss and it was against Justin Gaethje, really Justin proved to the world that, you know, the guys fighting at these other promotions, these Ben Askrens, these Justin Gaethjes, these Eddie Alvarez's, they can compete with the elite fighters in the UFC, most of them. Nick Newell, I want to see if he could. How he could hang in the top 15 of the UFC. But to match him up against CM Punk, I think a lot of people would look at it, don't get me wrong, like a sideshow. You know, like a Bellator Kimbo Slice versus backyard brawls freaking Data 5000. Like, I don't want people looking at Nick Newell like that. He's not a sideshow attraction. He's not somebody... It's very difficult to discuss. I still want to hear Ted's side of the story. I sat on this thought for a while, and I just think a lot of people are going to look at it the wrong way, not give Nick the credit that he really deserves as an actual professional, an equal, so to say. And I think that if he wasn't there against somebody like CM Punk, he would just get mauled. Nick Newell would just run through him. It would be the same thing you saw with CM Punk versus Mickey Gall. Now, who do you match CM Punk up against? This is something I've been talking about for so long, and really we come back to the same person time after time. It's the person that they had Mickey Gall fight in his first UFC fight. That is Mike the Truth Jackson. You have somebody with his experience go in there with CM Punk. Now, if CM Punk goes in there and wins, I wouldn't get too pushy, say have another fight. I want to see what CM Punk can do. I think that's more of a fair fight where you're going to see more than just a minute or two. You're not going to see CM Punk just get suffocated and get brought to school. I think that Mike the Truth Jackson versus CM Punk is the fight to book. Or if you're watching the video cast and you're seeing up in the corner how I'm promoting this topic, you might see the Green Power Ranger in there. Now, this is also a talk that's been going on for such a long time. Jason David Frank, who I've been watching since I was a little boy. I even have pictures in my bedroom still of me wearing my Green Ranger, well, the White Ranger, because the Green Ranger really turned into the White Ranger if you're a diehard Power Ranger fan and watch season 1. But Jason David Frank is still active today. He still manages some MMA fighters like Jose Shorty Torres when Jose Shorty Torres first started out. He wants a piece of this pie. I think this would also be a fair fight for somebody like CM Punk, because the argument is CM Punk shouldn't be in the UFC because he didn't work his way up. He's really just a cinema name, a marquee name, like Mickey Gall would say. Somebody like Jason David Frank, who has a huge background in mixed martial arts, I believe he does have some amateur and pro experience. So why not bring him into the UFC and have fun with this? I mean, if you already have CM Punk, you already have one foot in this door, there's really no one to match him up against without making your company look like not as professional as it should be. You know, I don't want to word that too wrong, but CM Punk is not Anderson Silva. CM Punk is not Max Payne Griffin. CM Punk is not Conor McGregor. So immediately when I was hearing all this talk about Mayweather would blow through him, Newell would blow through him, I'm actually interested to see how he would do against somebody like Jason David Frank or a current UFC fighter like Mike the Truth Jackson. What do you guys think about this? Let me know down below here on YouTube or wherever you're listening or watching, and let me know on Twitter at EvilUnder-Echo. But once this second fight is done, make no mistake about it, this needs to be laid to rest. No more CM Punk talk. He's not going to be your future champion. This really is just to bring newer eyes onto the UFC product for the generation of kids that watch CM Punk, that are probably going to be MMA fans in the future like I was growing up. I was a WWE fan growing up. Did my first interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin, as I always say. Shout out to the WWE for making me who I am today. I even went to the same broadcasting school as Stephanie McMahon. So shout out to WWE for making me who I am today, which really is the idea behind having somebody like CM Punk fight in the UFC. Somebody like Brock Lesnar coming over to the UFC. You're bringing over a whole new eye, a whole new audience that could probably stick. And this is why I see fighters that get mad about having CM Punk fighting in the UFC. But if you were lucky enough to make it on a fight card, and UFC 225 is a fire fight card, but if you're on the same card as this, you should be thankful because CM Punk's going to bring over an extra 100,000, 200, whatever the number is that he draws. They're going to be eyeing you, and you could be somebody's new favorite fighter. Same thing with Ronda going over the WWE. It works both ways, which is why I don't mind the WWE talk, but don't get too into it, which is why CM Punk after this fight, man, you have to hang it up. If you want to continue at a lower promotion like a Bellator or on Fight Pass somewhere with like Titan FC, there's a spot for it. I even suggested doing like, You know, when they have like your seventh inning stretch in baseball, you know, while everyone is walking away from the actual professionals, you can have, you know, like CM Punk, like they do with, you're at the Harlem Globetrotters, and in the middle, there's a break, and you see the sumo wrestler guys or Globy going around and doing slam dunks and stuff like that. Have CM Punk fight during intermission. There you go. You won't offend anybody by doing that. It's the sideshow that the UFC really is doing here. But at the end of the day, no Nick Newell, no Mayhem. I mean, no Mayweather. Come on. What do you guys think about this? Let me know. And